Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jezelle and I am here today with you to talk about the Taurus Full Moon that's happening on Wednesday, November 5th at about 8:18 a.m. Eastern Time, so adjust for your time zone as needed. So here's the chart, the wheel for our full moon. We have the sun in Scorpio across the sky from the moon in Taurus. But the moon in Taurus is not making any traditional aspects with any of the planets, so it's kind of a standalone. And this makes the moon a little more potent than usual. Now, the moon is making aspects to the lunar nodes, which are not technically planets, but we have a nice trine to the south node in Virgo, which is releasing and transforming this part of us that needs to control or fix or make things right. And it's making a nice sextile to the North Node in Pisces, which is all about trying to embody a little bit more trust and surrender in unfolding circumstances ahead. Now, the ruler of this moon is Venus, and Venus is in her other home sign, which is Libra. And normally this is a great placement. However, Venus is making hard aspects to all of the outer planets. And she's very stressed out right now. Venus in Libra typically deals with relationships and relating patterns, self-worth in relationships, values in relationships, how we connect with others. And so the first aspect that I want to talk about is this opposition to Chiron, because they're just about 4 degrees apart, and an opposition is like a tug of war. We have Venus, which is the holder of values, and it's in a sign that likes to accommodate. And Chiron is our wounded healer. Chiron tends to dig up some old wounds, especially when it's retrograde, which it is right now. And as it digs up old wounds in opposition to Venus, it's looking like there are some push-pull energies between feeding your own needs and your desires, or being assertive in attaining your needs and your desires, versus people-pleasing and accommodating and ignoring your desires or ignoring your needs to accommodate someone else. And then we also have a square to Jupiter. Jupiter is at 25 degrees of Cancer, and it's stationing. It's about to turn retrograde. I believe it turns retrograde on the 11th, and it's making an out of sign square to Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree. So it's in a lot of tense aspects here. With Jupiter, we're looking at a magnification on emotional stability, emotional security, emotional comfort, perhaps the home, family, how we nurture ourselves or how we nurture others. And there could also be this element of needing to protect the heart, needing to protect those that we love. That's how I'm seeing this square. There could also be an overindulgence or a greater need, more than usual, maybe a dramatic need to have emotional validation in your relationship, in your interactions, in your sharing, exchanges. And then we have Pluto here in this out of sign square. So Venus is about to enter Scorpio, and when she enters Scorpio, she will be in a more definite square with Pluto. So right now she's just starting to enter that space, and we're starting to feel it. Pluto is the planet of destruction and rebuild. It destroys, it completely obliterates, and then there's a transformation that happens. There's a rebirth that happens. And a lot of the times Pluto has to do with ego death. So how I'm seeing this happening, especially with Venus about to enter Scorpio, there could be this sense of ego death, or maybe even perhaps needing to reevaluate how we judge others. I'm relating this chart a lot to relationships because of the aspects that are made and because Venus is in Libra. And if you are in the dating world or you're in a relationship, you may relate to this. Do you have ideals that you feel are absolutes in order for someone to fit or be perfect for you? For example, if you're dating and you see that somebody has been divorced 3 times, does that make them now less desirable? Or perhaps they are someone who enjoys traveling to Peru and doing ayahuasca ceremonies. Does that feel like a deal breaker to you? And if so, why? I feel like there's this transformation that's happening within us around how we evaluate others, not just ourselves, not just our own self-worth, but how we evaluate others and how we judge others. We're letting go of the old and the conventional, and we're starting to embrace more of the unconventional and allowing ourselves to explore outside of the box. Venus is also making two other awkward aspects, and the first one will be a quincunx, this in conjunct to Saturn and Neptune, both retrograde. And the other one is also an in conjunct with Uranus in Gemini at 0 degrees. And inconjuncts or quincunxes are very awkward. They feel like a sliver that you can't find, or you can just feel it, but you can't find it to pull it out, or a thorn in your side that you can't reach. It's something that is there, it's uncomfortable, it's a very obvious discomfort. With Venus making this aspect to Saturn and Neptune, I believe this has to do with this reevaluation because they've re-entered Pisces, a reevaluation of our faith and how we move through life in terms of what we are trusting in and what we're not trusting in. With Venus in this inconjunct is telling me to tell you to stop waiting for someone to come and save you, or stop waiting for this idealistic perfect person that exists in your mind that doesn't actually exist in real life. Everybody has their flaws, and there needs to be this release and this letting go of the idealism. There needs to be the release and letting go of specific structures or specific, checklist items that you have in order to see somebody as the right one for you or worthy of your time and worthy of your energy. Nobody's perfect, not even you. Everybody has their flaws, everybody has their imperfections, and we're all going through this journey called life together and on our own, with our own experiences and our own lessons that are specifically for us, unique to us. And then with Uranus also making the same aspect, the same awkward aspect to Venus. Uranus is the change maker. It is the planet that will cause an abrupt shift in consciousness, in circumstance, in beliefs, whatever it is. And with the first degree of Gemini, it's really just dumping information. I feel like there's just like this explosion of information, almost like a lightning bolt. And I'll tell you why it feels like a lightning bolt in just a moment. But there's just this like throw of facts at you, and you're having to take a step back and reevaluate. There's a lot of retrogrades happening in this chart. And the only one that's not retrograde is Jupiter, which is about to station retrograde, Pluto, which is not retrograde, Mercury, which is about to station retrograde, and Mars, which is not retrograde. So there's a lot that is in review. We're reevaluating, we're recalibrating. Uranus is making opposition to Mars. Mars is masculine, it is assertive, it is the action-oriented planet. It initiates, it moves forward, it's bold, it's courageous, it's adventurous, especially in Sagittarius. It could also be dogmatic. It could also be rooted in beliefs that we believe so firmly to be real. With this opposition, this feels like an explosion. This adds to the chaos that is around the moon in this chart. The moon is the standalone, entity that's not making any aspects that are harsh to any of the planets, no traditional aspects at all. It's really just like hanging out here in its own little bubble, almost like in meditation, oming to itself, creating its peace, finding its grounding, finding its stability, while the world around it is in absolute chaos. And that's just how I'm seeing this moon. So be mindful of what's going on around you. And if you're feeling like you're losing your footing, you're losing your grounding, come back to yourself. At the end of the day, you are in charge of your own peace. You are in charge of your own stability. No matter what goes on around you, it's you that creates your reality. And another thing I'd like to say that I think is really, really important is that when you can cultivate inner peace within, you're creating an environment of stability that will be reflected in your external world. Your external reality will always reflect what's going on internally. So, this full moon may bring up some surprises, may bring up some shocks. You may feel impulsive in your actions, and that has to do with this opposition between Uranus and Mars. That's okay. Just trust that what's coming up is a momentary impulse. It's not something that is rooted in logic or grounding. If it feels right, follow through. If it doesn't feel right and it feels erratic and it's being instigated from fear, hold back. If you're feeling like there is moment or experience that is requiring you to accommodate and put your needs aside, reevaluate that. With Chiron in Aries, I just want to go back to this for a second. It's digging up that old wound. It's touching an old wound. And if you've neglected yourself in the past in relationships and you're doing it again, you're just pouring salt on your wound. So now is a good time to start honoring your needs and stating what it is that you want and holding firm in those statements. So there you have it. This is the full moon. I hope you enjoyed. If you resonate with this and you've stayed till the end, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and share, help my channel grow. It was a pleasure to be here with you, and I wish you a beautiful full moon ahead.